for the best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
And welcome to the Frontier Motors Show here on Talk at 10 on News Talk 1370 WCOA. We are pleased that you have chosen to join us today. Pleased that you might have the opportunity to speak with Iven Streckel, the owner of Frontier Motors. You'll do that by dialing 478-3116, 478-3116. That will give you the opportunity to ask the price of a car, truck, or SUV that you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in, or perhaps a question or comment regarding the used car business, because nobody knows it better than he being Iven Streckel. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Don, thanks so much for the introduction. And this is the Frontier Motor Show, like Don said. And we have been videotaping this and doing this for talk radio for going on to almost 21 years now. So if this is the first time you are watching this, hopefully we won't bore you to death. But a little bit about Frontier Motors before we get started in the show. Frontier Motors, as I said, has been in business for 21 years. We are the largest independent dealership in the Pensacola area. We stock almost 400 cars, sometimes over 400 cars on our location. We have one lot. We're all on one location, so you don't have to go to multiple places. And we sell almost, well, I shouldn't say almost, roughly on an average 200 cars per month. Now, if we sell 200 cars per month on the average, that means I've got to buy between 50 and 60 cars every single week. We love to buy cars from private individuals that are selling their cars, and they might have their car on Craigslist or AutoTrader or Cars.com or advertised anywhere. So if you are contacted by one of our brokers, we have Scott and Betsy Tate. They're brokers. They don't work for Frontier Motors. They're independent brokers, but they will forward us your ad, and they know the type of inventory that we stock at Frontier Motors, and we will make you an offer on your car. So if you get an email, don't think it's a scam, because we have a lot of customers calling the dealership and says, hey, you got these guys calling me. Are they really affiliated with Frontier Motors? And yes, they are. Again, they are not employees, but what they do is they find cars for us, and then based off the ad alone, we can make you an offer on a car. So most ads are going to have the year of the car, how many miles are on it, some pictures of the car, also the equipment of the car. A lot of times I'll have the condition if there's something wrong with them. And based on the information, we go in the computer, and by the way, we do this on the radio show right now, like Don said before, 478-3116. That's 478-3116. And I can go ahead and give you a value, just like I do for Scott and Betsy if you have our cars advertised, and I'll plug in all the information, and it will tell me how much I can offer you. So if I come back and offer you $23,000, obviously I haven't seen the vehicle. They will let you know Frontier Motors is willing to pay $23,000 cash, bring car down to Frontier Motors, and they will write you a check. The only thing that would put a kink in that is if you brought the vehicle down and there was something wrong with it that wasn't disclosed in the ad. Every once in a while, we'll get a car that comes in and maybe people don't realize that the left rear window doesn't work, or maybe that the inside tires are completely worn out where I'm going to have to put new tires on. So every once in a while, we will adjust the price based on any type of reconditioning that's out of the ordinary. Obviously, if you have a 6-year-old car for sale, we don't expect it to be perfect, but we don't expect to have to fix things that are broken. So we would deduct for that. So that's how that program works. And again, the reason I'm getting off a track of the Frontier Motor Show, but I wanted to mention that if Scott and Betsy do contact you, it is legitimate, and we buy anywhere between 6 to 20 cars every single week from private individuals. The rest of the cars that we get, because people always ask me, where do your cars come from? A lot of them are trade-ins. We have a lot of cars on the lot that have low miles, and I'll give you an example of the type of cars that we have on the lot. I'll just rattle a couple of them off. We have a Mitsubishi Outlander on the lot. It's got 26 miles on it. We have a Nissan. We have 3 Nissan cargo vans. They had the highest mileage is 63 miles. We have a Dodge Grand Caravan with 100 miles on it, a Volkswagen Passat with 100 miles, a Nissan Altima with 300 miles. The list goes on and on. We normally have between 100 to 150 cars on the lot that have less than 15,000 miles on it. So I would say that we are the alternative to new. But because we have that many types of cars with low miles on, we also take a lot of trade-ins in. So we get the other half of the cars we get from trades, and some of those cars we buy at the auctions. Some of these specialty cars, like the ones that I just rattled off, these aren't people that are trading in their car that's got 100 miles on it. These are people that these are a lot of these are leasing companies or rental companies or manufacturers that hadn't sold the cars to dealers, and they take them right to auction, which would be the Orlando or the Atlanta auction. That's where most of the manufacturing auctions are. We have an auction right here in Pensacola, but it's a smaller auction, and most of the cars that you see in Pensacola are going to be lease returns, rental returns, or they're going to be dealer cars. And when I say dealer cars, a lot of times what happens at the auction, a dealer will take a car in trade. For example, if a Lexus dealership takes a F-150 in trade, they don't have a lot of people coming on their lot looking for an F-150, so they take it to the auction. They sell the car. Let's say it brings $35,000, and they take that money and they immediately turn it into buying a used Lexus for their lot. So that's why there's a lot of dealer cars, and the auctions these days are more of an exchange as they are. When I got in the car business when I was 15 years old, we used to drive the cars to the auction. This was in the Milwaukee area, and that's where the dealers would get rid of their rats, the ones they didn't want to sell, the ones that weren't very nice. It's different these days, folks. Auction is an exchange. I like buying cars at the auction because unlike private individuals, they guarantee their cars. If I buy a car from a private individual, I better get it inspected by my mechanic first, because once it's mine and I write the check, it's pretty much my car. And if something doesn't work, well, that's too bad. Well, at the auction, if something doesn't work, they guarantee those cars. So they sell them with the green light on, which means they guarantee them also for flood damage. A lot of people are worried about that with all these hurricanes lately. How about what happens if I buy a flood damage car from Frontier Motors? Well, we would just give you your money back. As long as it's a real flood damage. I'm not talking about somebody leaving the skylight open or the sunroof open and you're getting rained on. That's not flood damage. I'm talking about where the water came above the floorboards of the car. Generally, that dictates that car has now been totaled, which means it should be crushed and not resold. So we double check that, and we make sure that the auction guarantees them. That way I can guarantee them, and you'll get your money back. Any type of odometer problems, any type of lemon law buybacks, all those vehicles are available at the auction, but have to be disclosed, and they guarantee they won't make a mistake. The other thing we do, of course, is we advertise that we do free Carfax reports for anybody out there. A lot of times, even some of the small dealers that are over on Palafox Street, they'll call us for a Carfax report because it costs about $40 to run one. Matter of fact, I saw the other day, I Googled it, and I think you can get 6 Carfax reports for like $70. Well, that's pretty expensive. We pay one fee. I can run as many as I want. So we advertise that we run Carfax reports, especially helpful for those of you out there that are buying a car, maybe off of Craigslist, and you're nervous if it's a good car or bad car. Well, you call Frontier Motors. You give us the ID number, description of the car. Not only will we run the Carfax for you, we will also run the auto check, which is the second largest provider of history reports in the nation. So we're going to do both. Most dealerships, matter of fact, I don't know of any dealerships that does it like Frontier Motors, where we run both. Most of them run one or the other because of the expense of them. So we've worked out a deal with both of these suppliers that we pay one fee and we can run as many as we want. So we throw that out to anybody out there, folks. That the other thing that we help you with when you call us with the ID number, not only we will tell you what the history report says, we will also tell you what that car sells for in our area. And with having almost 400 cars in one location, a lot of times I'll have that same car on the lot that you're trying to buy somewhere else. So you're calling us in, you're saying, hey, here's the ID number for this 2015 Impala LT with 25,000 miles on it. I want to know what the history report says. So we come back to you and say, the history report is clean. By the way, it's a one-owner car, no accidents. And in our area, that car right now is selling for $17,500. By the way, what are they asking for? Well, they're asking $21,000. Well, that doesn't mean you have to drop what you're doing and come buy from us. You just use our information to make sure you can get your better deal by having them drop the price down to $17,500. So you tell your prospective customer, hey, I was just at Frontier Motors, and they can sell me a car like that for $17,500. Don, do we have a call?
Yes, this is Teresa.
Hey, Teresa, thanks for calling the Frontier Motor Show. How can we help you?
Good morning, sir. I am hoping that you have on your lot a Pilot, Honda, or a CRV by chance.
He's checking. And by the way, if you have a question just like Teresa does, give us a call. We'll be here for the remainder of this half hour. Call us at 478-3116, 478-3116. This is the Frontier Motor Show here on News Talk 1370 WCOA.
Teresa, are you still there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, good. Yes, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 Honda CRVs on the lot. Looks like most of them are newer. I've got a 14, another 14, a 16, and 16. And the Honda Pilots, I know I was looking at Honda Pilots at the auction the other day because we had 4 of them last month, and I think we are down to only 1. Let me double check. Now, while I'm looking at my inventory here, Teresa, I also want to let you know that one of the things we do is we find cars for customers. So let's say you call the lot instead of call the radio show right now, and the dealer, the salesman says, well, I don't have any Honda Pilots right now. What they do is they'll write your name and number down. They'll write the year and the make and the model you're looking at. They'll do a little bit of research for you and let you know what that vehicle is going to sell for. And then we actually do go out and try to buy that vehicle for the lot with the understanding that if you like it, maybe we can sell to you. I have one Honda Pilot on the lot. Teresa, it's a 2016 Honda Pilot. It's an EXL. It's burgundy. It looks like it has 24,000 miles on it. So that's the only Honda Pilot I have on the lot right now.
Is that a 3-row?
Yeah, all the Pilots are 3-row.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're standard.
Well, I'm looking at trading in 2014 Ford Escape.
Okay, which is
and it's a titanium.
All right. Well, let me look it up for you while I got you in the lot here, just to give the other people that are listening out there an example of how we do this when you call on the lot. So it's a, and by the way, that's a good selling vehicle. We do a really good Ford Escape business. Ford is our number 1 selling vehicle on our lot. And is it a 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive?
It's 2, I believe.
Yeah. And how many miles are on it? About
19,000.
Okay, that's very good. That's low miles for a vehicle that's going on 4 years old. Okay, and it asks me if you have the. Do you know what motor? Do you have the 2-liter EcoBoost motor? Do you know?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay, so that's a $600 ad. And then the only other thing it adds for Teresa is if you have navigation or a sunroof.
Yes, sir. It has navigation, but it does not have sunroof.
Okay, got it. All right. So what I'm coming up with right now, Teresa, let me check on the NED. It looks like to me like the NEDA right now, well, let's go with loan value. Wholesale is going to be about $17,000. Now, when I talk about wholesale, we don't expect you to wholesale us your car. If you trade your car in and exchange it for something, we'll give you more than that. But let's just say, Teresa, you said I'm going to buy a brand new Honda Pilot over at Pensacola Honda. I don't want to use one. I want a brand new one. Well, what we would do is appraise your vehicle and say, Teresa, I would write you a check for, let's just say for $17,500. That way you know what wholesale is on your car. And let's say if the other dealer you're doing business with doesn't give that much, you just sell it to me. Now, your retail, let's say you decided, well, I think I've got somebody that might be interested in this car. Maybe somebody you work with, or maybe somebody, the neighbors might be interested if they find out you're looking to sell. And they say, well, how much do you want for your car? Well, full retail is $21,100. My thinking is this vehicle is going to probably bring around 19 to 19.5, maybe 20,000 if you sell it yourself, and you're going to get somewhere between 17.5 and 18.5 on a trade-in.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that'll give you some idea, and that's because you got such low miles on it. Actually, Teresa, the mileage ad on your vehicle for having only 19,000 miles on it is $2,600. So we're giving you a lot of credit because you haven't driven it that much for going on 4 years old. The other thing, a little asterisk on this, once you hit 20,000 miles, it's going to drop about $500. So keep that in the back of your mind, because every time you roll over that next decade of miles, it affects the value a little bit. You mentioned you have 19,000 miles on it. So once you get up to like 19.8 or 19.9, you might want to slow down driving it, because if you bring it to me and it hits 20,000, it's going to be worth a little less.
Okay. And what is the asking price on the Pilot that you currently have?
The Pilot, I've got it on the internet for $35,800. But what I would like to do, one of the things that I pride myself in making sure all of our salespeople do if you come in the dealership, Teresa, that if you brought your Escape in, what I would like to do is give you an out-the-door figure after everything. In other words, let's say I'm asking $35,000 for my vehicle. It doesn't really matter what I'm asking. The way I always look at it is the only thing that matters is what do you have to pay for a trade difference, including the taxes, the dock fee, the license plate transfer, the title fee. So if I gave you a figure, I'm just going to make it up. Let's just say I can trade you for $17,000 out the door, everything included. And then you went to the Honda dealership and you're looking at a brand new 18. Well, let's say they're at $25,000 out the door with everything included. So that way you would make a decision. It makes it a lot easier if they'll give you an out the door figure. And I always tell people to make sure that you push for an out the door figure because you want them to include all the fees because dealers charge different fees. Some dealerships have this thing of advertising the cars real cheap online, but then they hit you with, $1,000 worth of extra fees that you don't know about. So and I don't get mad at them for doing that. I just want to make sure they let you know about that in their bottom line out the door figure. So if you stop
What time
in,
do y'all close today, sir?
we're going to be open till 6 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Well, I will do my best to swing by there and take a look at the car and see what we can come up with.
Thanks, Teresa. Thanks for calling the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And folks, that's how easy we can make it for you. We do this over the phone a lot of times, and people will call us and say, "Hey, I heard the radio show, and I know that you can give me a price over the phone." We would prefer, of course, having you at the dealership only because then we can see your car
and smell it.
And smell it. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And everybody here knows if Teresa's out looking at a car, if she opens the door on our Pilot and it smells like smoke, and especially if she's a non-smoker. Even smokers don't want a car that smells like smoke. Yeah. But there can be other smells, Don. It can be any type of smell that doesn't fit your, I shouldn't say palate.
Maybe they transport their dogs around a lot.
Yeah, maybe it's a dog smell. There's all kinds of smell. And so what I always urge somebody to do is to bring the car, number one, look at ours while I'm looking at yours. So we kind of kill two birds with one stone. So we're going to do an appraisal on your car. And folks, I can do a full-fledged appraisal in 15 minutes. Some dealerships can't because they only have one appraiser. We have a total of 5 appraisers, and 3 of them are always there. If it's their off day or maybe one of our appraisers at the auction, one of them's off, we always have 3 appraisers there. And the reason we do that is so we can do what we talk about on the TV and the radio show that you're watching or listening to right now is that we can get you in and out in a short period of time. A lot of people want to come in and just get that second opinion on their trade-in. Let's say you are going to buy a brand new one. And I'm glad that she's looking at one that might be a 2016 like the one we have. But let's say that she's, well, I don't like that 16. What I can do is give you a price on a 17, even though I don't have it. So I'll do my research and said, hey, Teresa, I can get you 2017 with this equipment for $36,000. Here's how much I can give you for yours. And then I can send her on her way over to the Honda dealership so she can look there to find out what will they do. $9,200 in the first year. So if you buy a car today,
on that base price of $35,000,
on the base price. Okay. Now, if it's a more expensive car, Don,
we understand.
I had a Jaguar that I had on the lot a couple of months ago. That was a $118,000 car. The car was 1 year old with 4,000 miles on it. It depreciated $35,000 in less than a year. So again, it depends on the price of the car. Obviously, if you're driving a $15,000 smart car, well, actually, a smart car will depreciate 50%. They have no resale value whatsoever. Folks, don't buy a smart car anymore, okay? I'm getting these cars down. I'm getting these smart cars. These other dealers are calling me. They're taking them in trade. Yeah. They've got like 4,000 miles on, and they're like worth $5,000. It's absolutely crazy, wholesale.
Yeah.
But it's great. So that's the worst depreciating car. By the way, the best car for depreciation, the number one car for resale value, used to be a Lexus for years and years. You know what it is, Don?
Mm-mm.
It's a Jeep Wrangler.
Wow.
A Jeep Wrangler holds the best resale value of any car. But the average car, according to Consumer Reports, drops $9,200 the first year. In 2 years, it drops $12,600. So if you have a 2-year-old car, it drops $12,600. After 4 years, the car drops 56% of its value in 4 years. And that's where we come in because we sell used cars. And 4 years is nothing on a car. The average age of a car on the road right now is 11.2 years. It's crazy how long these cars are lasting. It used to be when I got into business back in 1975, the average age of a car on the road was 7 years. Now it's over 11 years. And the reason is because cars are built better, not worse. They don't make them like they used to, and I'm so glad they don't. Buick. Every Buick that is sold in 2017 has a 5-star crash rating. It's the only manufacturer with a 5-star crash rating on every model they make. Not even Lexus can say that. Cars are way safer than they were back in 75. They're lighter. and safer and stronger. They last longer. They get better gas mileage. And I just read an article that it actually costs less to own a car based on today's income than it did back in 1975. Even though I still get sticker shock. I told Don the other day.
Yeah, sure.
I was in Car City and I'm looking at some of these pickup trucks. And I just read I went through every car. I'm exaggerating when I went through every car, but I went through every dealership in Car City.
Right.
Every single dealership, and I drove their lot with my bicycle. I looked at window stickers and window stickers and window stickers. And I was kind of surprised. There's a couple dealers that have these addendums on there where they're asking $2,000 over the original window sticker. Some of them put the rust proofing and the gloss treatment and the pinstriping on there and charge $800 more for it. Some dealers don't do that at all. Some dealers just charge whatever the window sticker is. But it's interesting when I look at the window stickers that I have been in the car business since I was 15 years old, and I get sticker shock. And in my automotive news last week, they said that in 2018, for the first time ever, a Ford F450, which is a regular heavy-duty pickup truck with a diesel, will be over $100,000. And it's not unusual to get a 150, an F-150, which, by the way, they don't make an F-150 with a diesel yet. Diesel is a very expensive option. It's about $9,000 brand new. So you can see that a diesel engine will automatically add $9,000 to the price tag of a vehicle. But a 150 doesn't come with a diesel, and they're hitting $70,000 for a loaded platinum F-150. And I can't. How do people afford them? A pickup truck. Yeah. Now, of course, it's loaded. And a base pickup truck is like maybe 35 all the way up when you put the equipment on them and you go 4x4 and you go with the navigation system and all that stuff. You get up to $70,000. So I get sticker shock. But I'm so happy that Consumer Reports finally put into writing how much you lose, because that helps us as an independent used car dealership be able to convince you to at least check us out before you buy brand new. Now, I know there are people out there that buy brand new cars. Matter of fact, last year was a brand new record. Last year, 17.5 million people in the USA bought brand new cars. That's a new record. The year before was like 17.2. So they sold more new cars than ever. I mean, obviously, Don, there's not enough people listening to this radio show, but I'm happy about that because I wouldn't have any used cars if somebody didn't buy brand new, but I just don't want it to be you. I don't want it to be my neighbor. When I sold cars down, I felt so bad. One of the manufacturers I sold was Cadillac. I remember selling a Cadillac. This was back in 1978. I was selling Cadillacs. And I would sell a brand new Cadillac, and the customer would come back 6 months later and said, hey, this Coupe de Ville that I bought just isn't working. The door is so darn big, I can't even open it up in the garage. I wish I wouldn't have bought it. I want a four-door de Ville. So I would now have to tell them how much their car that's 6 months old was now worth. And I'll tell you what, a lot of times I had to back up because I would have got slapped. And I was the bearer of the bad news. The manager would never come out and tell them. They made the salesman tell them, well, you sold me that car, and that $35,000 car now is worth $25,000. It's only been 6 months. But folks, this is what I'm getting at, is that I don't want it to be you. So when we moved to Florida, we decided to get out of the cold weather of Wisconsin, and we were there for over 25, 30 years. We moved down here. We've been here for almost 23 years now. Started Frontier Motors 21 years ago, and we decided not to get a new car dealership. We also decided not to move to Car City. And people say, well, why wouldn't you go to Car City? That's where all the big dealers are, and you're a big dealer. Of course, back then we weren't. We had 25 cars on a lot. We were a small dealer. But I didn't want to have the overhead in Car City. There were a lot of places for sale there, and I remember one was almost $1 million. It needed $500,000 in renovation, and I was looking at that, and I know I could get a loan for it. I didn't have the money to pay for it, but I know I could get a loan for it. But I didn't want the mortgage and the overhead that comes with a mausoleum. And it's not just the mortgage alone, because some people say, well, I'll just write a check for it. Some people that have the type of money to be able to do that. Well, what about the maintenance? What about the insurance? What about everything else that goes along with it? What about the higher taxes on a property value like that? All that goes in the overhead. And when you have that overhead, don't you ever wonder how they're paying for these buildings? They have to make a bigger profit. And that's where I come in. We bought our building for $105,000 21 years ago. We stuck about $25,000 into it. We bought more lots and added on and added on. We renovated our dealership, but we have no mortgage. We have nothing as far as overhead on that building. And therefore, I'm able to sell our cars between $1,000 to $1,500 less than you're going to see at most of these franchise dealerships. And there's a reason for it, because I can stay in business by making a small profit. Obviously, I have to make a profit. but it's the amount of a profit that I have to make that's going to set us apart from the competition. And that's not all. The other thing that sets us apart from the competition is how we go about giving you a price on a car. I always talk about our salespeople, that our salespeople, even they're called salespeople, don't really sell cars. And what I mean by that is you come on the lot at Frontier Motors, you can look at our cars. And because we're an independent dealership, we have every make and model on the lot. We had Teresa looking for a Honda Pilot. But what if Teresa was interested, maybe also looking at the competition? The competition to a Honda Pilot, for example, would be a Toyota Highlander. Well, we've got about 5 Highlanders on the lot. The other competition would be a Nissan Pathfinder. Well, guess what? I've got the Nissan Pathfinder. We have the Ford Explorer. We have the Cadillac SRX. We have them all lined up so she doesn't have to go to 5 different dealerships if she thought maybe I'll look at something other than a Honda. If you go to the Honda dealership, they have one car to show you. Brand new, it's a Honda. Toyota to show you. I've got them all because we're an independent dealership. So, number one, we don't really sell cars. We show cars. And then when Teresa comes in, well, the next thing we will do for her, the next thing you notice, she says, well, how much is it? Well, here's what we have it listed for. And let me give you an out-the-door figure. Sometimes we can still discount the car more than what we have it on the internet for, and sometimes we can't. We're not a one-price selling dealer like a lot of dealerships are in Pensacola, where they list the price and that's it. You get nothing else, nothing off. Most people want a little bit of a bargain. What I tell all of our customers, let me see if I can do anything. A lot of times I can give you a little bit better price. Sometimes I can't, depending on what I have the car advertised for and what I paid for the car and what I put into the car. If I put brand new tires on it, if I did something to enhance the value of the car, there might not be that much wiggle. But then what we do is we give you that price in writing, folks. And we say, hey, if you're not sure if it's a good deal, why don't you go shop? Those are some of the things that we do at Frontier Motors. We've only got a couple of minutes left. I want to let you know that we've got a great website. So if you're curious about some of these cars that I've talked about, they've got 31 to 41 detailed photographs. All of them have prices on the internet. There's a little link there where you can email us to see if it's the best we can do. And like I said before, sometimes I can do a little better. Sometimes I can't. If you've got a trade-in, we can actually appraise your car right on the internet. Give us the information and the ID number, and we'll get back here and say that if based on good condition, here's what I can give you for your trade-in. And then, of course, we'll do what I said before, which is give you that out-the-door figure. And that's our website, so Google Frontier Motors. We also, this show you're listening to and also watching, you can find this on YouTube. So in a couple of days, they're going to put this on YouTube, and you can click Frontier Motors, and you're going to see the show. So if you want to share it with someone, we'd love you to do that. And we also have a great Facebook page. So like us on Facebook. Just Google us. Don't Google us on Facebook. Just type in Facebook, type in Frontier Motors. You'll see us there, and you'll see some of our inventory. We have a link to our inventory right there. Frontier Motors does it the old-fashioned way. Very simple. Here's the price. Here's what we can do. There doesn't have to be a lot back and forth. There's actually a dealership in Pensacola where you can come and not feel like we're here just to grab your wallet and take your money, that we're here to provide a service. And that service is going to make sure that you get a good deal on a superior product with great miles on it in very, very good condition. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We've got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors. Low overhead country.